I mean, county lines is probably easy on the face of things to get very used to that term, but I think it's really important to humanise what's underneath that. And I think basically we're seeing, children being exploited by adults. County lines isn't just about drugs; it's about everything around that: harm, sexual abuse, rape, debt, everything, even dependency, codependency. So there are many factors to county lines that we need to consider. The first couple of slides are an infographic describing the true cost of crime. So this is produced by the National Police Council. It's publicly available, and gives you a breakdown in the estimated size of the drug market as we know it, as we see it. There's a couple of things here I'll point out. It's just look at how much we spend on enforcement, 0.8 billion. Compare that against what we spend on treatment. And then you have to start to think what kind of drug policy we have if the balance is addressed that way in terms of funding alone. If you look at the work that's been done to reduce smoking, if you look at the work that's been done to destigmatise mental health, this needs to be replicated with substance misuse. But using a community resolution, we can almost decriminalise drug possession. Now that's really important because a community resolution is in fact not decriminalisation. It's perfectly acceptable within the current legal framework. But we can now, when we find a person, in this scheme here that you see before you is for young people, and what we're trying to do is when any person, regardless of their previous convictions or their offending history, when they're found in possession of any substance, we will no longer have to arrest, interview, or even require admission of guilt. And you can see there the benefits to that previously incriminating encounter is now turning right from the outset into a more positive health outcome. What we want is for that person to receive an assessment as quickly as possible by a professional drug service worker about their drug use. We want them to understand what it is they're using and how they're using it, and to receive credible education and harm reduction. So our pilot sites in West Berkshire and Windsor Maidenhead found that 88% of young people engaged into the scheme, and over 80% of them attended a 6 weeks worth of courses. So that's a 1 hour session a week. Now the course consisted of credible harm reduction and drugs education, because we were beginning for the first time to find that it wasn't the cannabis that they've been found with that was the issue. It was the ketamine, it was the cocaine use within their setting and environment. It was the peers who would then progress on to heroin using earlier, and so on and so on. That wider contextual safeguarding and harm reduction was coming out within the education. But basically removing them away from the criminal justice system from the outset was really powerful.
Northamptonshire has around 750,000 people in it. It's got no cities. Northampton is its largest conurbation, and then there's some kind of market towns that sit outside of that. All very well served by train lines from London, so we're less than an hour from London by train. In 2013, we had our kind of first local home-based gang that kind of kicked off. And as time has gone on since 2013, that has just exploded. We now have mass infiltration of county lines. So it's not now unusual for us to come in the morning and there to have been a shooting or near fatal shooting or near fatal stabbing. If you wanted to, how the mechanics of it work is largely for a county line operation is you will phone somebody to get your drugs. It will connect to someone in a metropolitan centre, usually London for our purposes in Northamptonshire. That person in London will contact a local runner who will then deal with the drugs in that area for you. So the control of the operation is managed from a central area, but facilitated by local people, and they're usually really vulnerable, marginalised individuals that Jason was kind of talking about. So we needed a way about how we was going to do something different, and CIRV is that different thing. Yeah, it's a hard model to get right. It failed at least 3 times across the rest of the country before it was successful in Northamptonshire. It's difficult to get right, but when it's right, it works really well. We've had 1,700 people referred to us in just over 18 months. Now, for a county of less than 1 million people, and 80% of those, by the way, are under 18, that's a phenomenal amount of people that are involved in this type of activity. It's not uncommon that we'll go by a week and have something like 50 to 100 referrals in a single week. And these are people that have all got links to drugs in County Lyons in some way. So what does CIRV do? Well, CIRV is actually really broad in terms of what it tries to achieve. It deals with people when they've got no links to criminality whatsoever, all the way through to someone coming out of prison who stabs and kills somebody. And what we do is we get referrals from a number of different places, from police, from schools, from wherever. So we'll have received a referral, we respond to it straight away, we go straight and go and see the family, go and say, I've had a referral, let's say from the school have said these are the problems. Then we take it through to multi-agency triage and we overlay it with what do the police know, what do the youth offending service know, what do health know, what does social care know, what does the education side know. And then once we've got that picture, we can then make a decision about where can we add value. And we don't have arbitrary indicators that goes and says they must meet this threshold. No, we don't do that. We go and say, where do we as a collective group of professionals think that we can add value in relation to this young person's life? We've got we employ ex-gang members as part of the programme because we're really serious about our mission here, because they come with the real insight and influence, and we work with other trusted providers, and we're a multi-agency team as well, so we've got family support workers with us, education specialists, people that I employ to go and find bespoke opportunities in employment for people, because we must start from a base of hope. We work on this kind of mutual trust-based agreement. I say, look, you can trust me. I go and say, well, I've got all these issues and this complexity in my life. Let's say it's around housing. I go, well, by the end of today, I'll have housed you. We don't wait. We've got to act really quickly, so we can go and say, look, I am actually worthy of your trust because I've done some of these things for you, or I've got a problem with this in my life and I've got an issue with my family, or it's not working at home. Okay, well, we're going to resolve those really quickly, but I need you to not do these things now. So you say, for me to go and try and help you and influence you, it's not about me telling you to do things. This is about me saying, this is your objective. But I think if you go missing and if you keep offending and you keep doing these things, you're less likely to get to your objective. But we need to be really clear and honest, and I need to see the emotion in what we do, because that's how we build relationships. And we have 3 golden rules in CIRV. The first rule is, does it feel like it's the right thing to do? I think we can have all the processes in the world, but often they take us in the wrong direction. So do we feel like this is the right thing? Does it make sense to us that that's the right thing? Number 2 is we must do it together. So we can't do it 2 or 4, we must be doing it with, and it's with them that matters. Otherwise we can't succeed. And number 3 is whatever we're doing must be in the direction of where they want to take their own lives. It's not what's convenient to us, it's about them. It's about getting them to where they want to get to. We've just had an independent evaluation done on CIRV. There's been a 30% reduction in offending, 60% reduction in vulnerability, 40% reduction in arrests, and a 50% reduction in our mark around stop searches as well. There's some pretty profound reductions there, and this isn't a small sample size. That's for 85 people, 6 months before, 6 months after. Any agency, I really implore you to look at this type of approach, because it works, it's evidence-based, and it's about going back to those basic things around getting a relationship with somebody that's genuine, and then progressing them along that continuum in terms of their recovery and integration back into society.